Everyone, it's Kathy, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, Kathy's Random Act of Stampin'. And here in my craft room, where we're going to let the magic take place. Today, we're going to be centering in on the Nature Sweetness. Now, the Nature Sweetness is the collection, but we are only going to be dealing with the Notes of Nature stamp and die set. Now, I am going to pull in another die, which is going to be my Stylish Shapes. And we're only going to need that for the little banner right there. We may use some other stamp sets, but if we do, I'll tell you what they are as we get to them. But I'm going to flip the page, and if you look on page 43 in your mini catalog, you will see this bundle, and that's what we're going to concentrate on. It's very vintage. If you were with me a couple of weeks, maybe a week ago, I'm not sure, but I did this card using this same suite, and I love the way it turned out. But I wanted to take it a step further, and I wanted to incorporate some different colors to kind of make it pop a little bit more. So let's see what we got. I've got some supplies here that I've already pre-cut. We're going to be also using the Nature Sweetness Designer Series paper, and I'm going to be using this pattern right here. And we're going to do a few little things here and there to our paper to make it even more vintage, doing some distress inking and things like that. These are my pieces. I went ahead and got everything pre-cut for the sake of the video not being, an hour and a half long, because there's a lot of die cutting in this. On this particular die right here, I cut 3 of these long leaves. I didn't cut them exactly perfect. I cut the bottoms off of most of them, but look at all that texture that's in those pieces. We're going to add that on the front to give some texture. Let me show you my first card that I did using this technique, and that was this one. But I wanted to bring it up a little bit and make it a little bit more my style. So I did it with the Misty Moonlight as my card base, and I made it as just a note because I figured that way I could make it any kind of card that I wanted. And I used another stamp set that is called Hope and Prayer, and I used the little dove and the sentiment under his wings you will find refuge. And I did a little inking on this piece as well. So I wanted to bring in some texture and a little something different. So that's what we're going to work on with this one. But I did use this particular die. This is a nice long piece, as you can see. Oops, if I can get it out of here. There we go. And it's so easy to cut. The pieces come out really well, and this is what it looks like when you die cut it. So you can see I cut it off from the bottom just a little bit because I didn't need all of that. We're going to trim this off a little bit anyway. So that was one of the pieces I used. I also used this piece and this piece and this little bitty piece. These are standalone dies that just cut pieces that you can add to your card. These will actually cut out your stamped images. So you have 3 that will cut your stamped image, and then everything else is just extras that just work beautiful on the card depending on the colors that you use. Okay, enough of that. Let's get started. I went ahead and cut, this is my banner, and I cut this using the Stylish Shape dies. I have a piece of the gold trim that I made a little loopy bow with. We're going to lay that to the side. We won't need that right away. I cut out of boho blue and misty moonlight quite a few pieces, and we'll see which one of those we're going to use. But for right now, I'm going to slide these out of my way. Just put them up there in the top corner. And we're going to go ahead and do our card base. So we need to score this. This is 8.5 by 5.5. We're going to score it at 4.25 for our regular typical A2 size card. So I'm bringing up my Simply Scored scoring tool, and I'm going to put this in my left-hand corner, and I'm going to score it at 4 1/4. Just like that. And give that a good fold. Let's go ahead and put our scoring tool away because we won't need that anymore. I'm going to bring over a bone folder. I go back and forth between two bone folders. One is the regular Stampin' Up! Bone folder. This is a great bone folder to have. You can use it like this, but I also have this one on my craft room favorites, and this is a Teflon bone folder. And if you're dealing with dark papers that you don't want that shiny line on, this is the bone folder for you. I reach for this one quite often because it is one of my favorites. That there's a link to both of these in the PDF description. So there is our piece for that. Now we have a mat that is 4 by 5 1/4. Don't worry about trying to write down all of these measurements. Everything will be in my blog post. So I'm going to take this piece. We're going to work quite a bit on this piece. So I'm going to bring in my crumb cake ink, and I'm going to bring my stamp set over, Notes of Nature, and I'm going to grab out that little speckle, and we're going to do some speckles on this piece. And all you want to do is get the speckles just all over the front of this card. It doesn't matter how you put them down, just as long as you stamp them. So you can put them close together, you can put them off of the edge, however you want to do your speckles. And you can also make sure you get them all the way to the ends, like that. So we have that pretty well filled in with our little speckles. So now we are ready. I'm going to leave my ink out because I do need to use it again. And I'm going to take one of our blending brushes. And this is one that I have dedicated to beiges and browns. So I'm going to come in and just load that up with some of that crumb cake ink. And then I'm going to start out around the edges. I want to knock back some of the color and give this a nice vintage look. Just like this. And remember, whenever you're doing any ink blending, you can always so whenever you're doing this, just be mindful that you can put it down a little bit at a time, which is a safer option than trying to put it, all down at one time. And it also depends on how wet your ink pad is. Mine's not real wet. Well, I do need to re-ink this one, but I'll do it after this card. The reason is when you're ink blending, I don't have to come over here and tap off quite as often with a drier ink pad. But if you do, if it is juicy, just make sure you tap it off on either a piece of um, scrap paper, grid paper, whatever you have. I'm using directly down on my glass mat because I can very easily clean that up. All right, I got that all knocked back like I want it, so I'm going to close up my ink. We're not done with that, so let's keep it close by. I'm going to bring a cleaning cloth in, and I'm going to lay some of this stuff over here because I'm going to take just a little bit of water and spray it onto my cloth, and I'm going to clean that off. I'm doing that because I don't want to put my card into the ink and get ink on the back of it where I don't want ink at. So, all right, we're going to come back in now with these pieces. And what we're going to do is we're going to glue these down. Something like this. But we want to put glue on them. So I'm going to take my reverse tweezers, and these are EK tools, and they're in my online favorite store. So you can go to my Craft Room Favorites, and you will see links to anything that's not Stampin' Up. And if you decide to purchase, if you'll click on my link, I would really appreciate it. I get a small little kickback for recommending these products that I find that I use all the time. So if you notice, I just put a little glue here and there. So I'm going to bring this around and I'm going to set this down right about, right about there. Get that tweezer out of the way. Give it a press. Don't worry about the glue that's showing. That's going to dry clear. So then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to put a little bit of glue on this one. And all you want to do is just get a little bit on each one of those leaves. And as you're going up, grab the middle of the stem and work your glue all the way up or down, whichever direction you happen to be going in. Now I'm going to put this one over to the other side of that one. And I'm going to sit it down like that. Give it a press. And like I said, don't worry about the glue that's showing. That will not show once it dries. Now we've got this one that's going to go right here in the middle. So again, I'm going to take my tweezers and I'm going to bring my glue like that. And then I'm going to set that down right there in the middle and give it a press. Now I'm going to set this to the side and let this dry. And I have a silicone craft sheet right here. So I'm going to lay it on that and just set it over to the side and let that dry while we're working on another part of the card. I'm going to bring up my Stampin' Seal. My Stampin' Seal. My Stampin' Scrub. And I want to just put a little bit of water on here. And then I'm going to clean and stamp. I love my Stampin' Scrub because it cleans my stamps so well, and a lot of times with just water. You can use cleaner with it, or you can use plain water, so it's very versatile. But it's an investment piece. Once you buy it, you will never need it again. It will always be there for you. All right, so now looking back at our card, I have these two pieces of cardstock. Designer Series paper and Misty Moonlight. And these pieces measure 3.5 by 4.5 on this one. And this one is 4 3/4 by 3.5, 3.25. What we're going to do is we're going to do some paper tearing. Now, not everybody's interested or finds it easy to do paper tearing, but we want to tear off about 1/4 of an inch all the way around. This is going to help give this card that vintage old feel. So don't be afraid to tear your cardstock. Now, if you notice, I'm tearing it toward me because that gives me more of that ruffled edge right there. See what I'm talking about? So just tear it as you go. About 1/4 of an inch. It doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, you want it to look, worn and tattered. We got that torn all the way around, and I love that look. It looks very worn, very old looking. Now we have this piece of Designer Series paper that we're going to work with. And I want to look, the wording on it goes in this direction because every so often you can see a word that you can actually make out. I want to do a little bit of inking on this because it's such a bright, stark white. So I'm going to bring in that crumb cake ink again, and I'm going to ink up my brush, and I'm just going to come in and I want to knock that color back, giving it that vintage look. Now that gives me that look that I was looking for. So now we can go ahead and close our ink pad. And we're going to do a little bit more paper tearing because we're going to tear this one just like we did the Misty Moonlight. This is going to be a little bit easier to tear because it is designer series paper rather than cardstock. So just come down like this, and we're going to go back and re-ink this as we tear it because you see you're showing some white core of the paper where you're tearing it, and we'll knock that back and make it look a little bit more vintage. So just tear toward you. Okay, so we have that all torn off now. We're going to come back in and do a little bit more blending ink around the edges of this. So just around the edges to give it that old worn look. And you can already see how that knocks back the white. And that piece is done. And again, I am going to wipe off my surface just to make sure I don't have any ink where I don't want it. The beautiful thing about having a glass mat, and if you wanted to get that free glass mat that Stamping Up is offering for people that want to sign up, people are usually afraid when you say sign up for something because they feel like they're obligated. You are under no obligation if you decide to sign up through celebration period. What it amounts to is you'll get $125 worth of any products that you want from the mini catalog or the annual catalog. Um, you will also get that free glass mat with the silicone tray and a cleaning cloth. $60 value, absolutely free, just for signing up. And then you have 3 months. If you don't meet your quota, which the quota is $100 a month, $300 per quarter of sales, then you just drop out. No, no, you don't owe Stamping Up anything, but you can take advantage of that offer for $99, free shipping, and then you can enjoy the discount yourself. Most of the people that are under me are hobbyists. They came under because they wanted the kit. They wanted to choose their $125 worth of product, and they did so. And sometimes they stay and sometimes they leave. So, like I said, you're under no obligation whatsoever. So think about signing up. If you've got a wish list that's at least $100 or $125, it's a perfect time to sign up and get those freebies. Okay, all that being said, let's bring our card back over. And we have our beautiful piece here. I'm going to take my paper snips and I'm going to turn this over. And anywhere this is hanging off, I'm going to snip it. Just like that. Just snip off those little excess pieces. And it's only on the top and the bottom. So just snip those off like that. And now this piece is almost ready to go down onto our card. Now, if you wanted to, you could hit this and knock the color back on that a little bit. I'm just going to use what I have left on my brush, and I'm going to go over them just like that. I think that will be sufficient. Now I'm ready to go ahead and put this piece down onto my card base. So I'm checking to make sure my card is opening in the right direction. And then I am going to run some glue in the back of this piece. Now this isn't a card that you would make or try to mass produce. This would be that card for someone's extra special that you really wanted to put a lot of detail in for. So I didn't get that one straight, so I pulled it back up. Like that. Now I'm going to close it or open it and give a good press on the back side. You don't want to run the bone folder across the front of that because you've got all of that beautiful texture, and I don't want to take a chance of pulling any of that up. So there is our piece, and now we're ready to put these pieces on the front. So we're going to put that piece kind of askew. This piece is going to come in about like that, and we're going to glue this all together, and then we're ready to decorate the front of our card. So the first thing I want to do is put glue on the back of this one. Again, make sure you're putting it on at, a little bit crooked. That adds to the worn look, I think. So we're going to do the same with this. We're going to put glue all over the back of this piece. And then I'm going to lay it in this direction. Give it a good press. Now we're ready to bring over all of our pretties. Now I want to grab one of these. I think I want that one to go in that direction. And one out of the boho blue that can actually live against that. See why if I put this one here, it's going to get lost on the Misty Moonlight. So I'm going to choose this one here. And the boho blue can live right here against the Misty Moonlight. And I'm also going to take one of these and put right about there. I think that's very pretty. Then down here, I'm going to do the boho blue coming off this way, the Misty Moonlight like that. And then we're going to take one of the Misty Moonlight like this piece and put it right about there. Now you can see that this is all of the workings is going to get covered up with our little label. So let's stamp. How about the hay there? That would be cute for. Oh, let's see, which one did I get just a note from? The Darling Details. It has a hello there. It has a happy birthday. I wonder if we could do a happy birthday. Let's try the happy birthday. And I think we can. I'm going to put this all the way over to this side of my banner. And I think I want to stamp it in the Misty Moonlight. So I'm going to pick that up on a block. Grab my Misty Moonlight ink. Give it a good, let's see, I need to stamp this on a piece of scrap. Let's see, what do I have? I got too much ink over on one side of my stamp. That's what I was afraid of. So I'm going to re-ink this. I'll be very careful just to tap and not rock my stamp. That looks good. And I'm going to come all the way over to the right-hand side of my banner and make that so you can see. Like that. Perfect. We can move that little scratch piece of paper out of the way. And I want to cut this. I think I want to cut it. Yeah, I definitely want to cut it. Do I want to scissor cut it or do I want to cut it in my trimmer? I'm going to grab my long shears and I'm going to cut it right about there. Pretty good. If you're afraid of cutting it with your scissors, by all means, put it in your trimmer. That way you can make sure you get it nice and straight. So now I'm ready to go ahead and start gluing down my little pieces. So I'm going to put these two together, or actually no, I'm going to do them separate. I'm going to put some glue on this one and put it right about there. And then this one. And right there. Then I'm going to take this one and working the glue in the same direction. I'm going to bring this one down this way. And the Misty Moonlight one. And you know, feel free to do whatever colors you like. You don't have to choose this color palette that I chose. You could pick whatever speaks to you. So I want one to come out right here. And nope, I want these up here. I think I want that one there. This one's going to come down this direction. All we're doing is building a collage of our foliage just to give it like a fanned look. And we still have some other little pieces, but what I want to do is get my banner where I want it. Remember, we have our little gold bow. I think I'm going to put my bow on the outside this time rather than under, just to show some different options. So I'm going to use a glue dot and put that right there on the edge of the banner. So using my Take Your Pick tool, I'm going to grab off a glue dot. Very easy to roll those off using the Take Your Pick tool and put it right there on your banner. And then stick that right there in it. And then you're very ready to put this down with some dimensionals. So I'm going to grab a couple of dimensionals. Maybe we'll do 3 just for good measure. I recorded this yesterday, or at least I thought I was, and when I finished, I only had the first frame of just the picture of the card, and after I had finished it, and I felt sick, so I had to come back and redo this over. Um, so that's the reason I had a sample to show you what this card was going to look like, but I still changed it up a little bit. So I'm going to bring that in to about there. And now you've got these other little pieces that you can tuck under here, like so, or under here. So feel free to put more of these little pieces on. Oops. Just by putting a little extra glue and tucking them under. This will definitely add to your little collage and give it a little bit more depth. I think that's plenty. I don't think we need anything else. We do need some sequins. So I have these beautiful gold sequins that we're going to use on here. And these are from the Pastel Adhesive Back Sequins, and they're in the annual catalog. You can tell by my little blue sticker. And I'm going to put one here. And I put one right there. And about one right there. And I think that's all we need. I think that is a beautiful, absolutely beautiful card. Now we need to do our inside. So let's grab, let's see if I have another piece of crumb cake. Right, we've got our plum cake, so let's grab our trimmer. And I'm going to lay this into my trimmer, and I'm just going to cut it off at 4. About 5 1/4. And from my charming sentiments, I'm going to put wishing you the happiest of birthdays. If you notice, I never put my stamps on my stamp block like this. I find that if you have trouble getting your sentiments straight, if you put them on your stamp block at an angle, then when you are stamping, you're looking at the line of your stamp and not your stamp block. And that will give you a much better chance at getting your sentiments straight than if you have it on straight on your block. I know that sounds crazy, but try it. You will find it true. So now I'm looking at the stamp itself, not the block. And there is our birthday wish. Now we're ready to put that inside of our card. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to put it in with some liquid glue. Like that. And there is our beautiful card. And I want to show you, let me close up my ink pad. This was the one that I did yesterday that did not record. It is equally as pretty. And then this was my very first one that I did. And you can see they're a little bit different. I decided I liked the frame of the Misty Moonlight. I thought that it brought out um, from this one, it looked like it needed a border. And so I did so with this one. This one I put my bow beside the happy birthday. This one I put it under. This one here I used a different bow. I used the Essential Basic Baker's Twine in the crumb cake color. And like I said, each one of these cards are gorgeous in their own way. They're just different, but three beautiful cards that I would be very proud to send to most anyone. So you'll have to let me know which one you like the best. Do you like it as just a note, or do you like it better as the birthday, or do you like it better without the frame? Thanks so much for tuning in. If you saw any of the products that you would like to purchase, they are available in my online store. The link will be under the video. Also, if you go to my blog, you'll find everything there. My blog address is also located under the video. God bless and keep you. I thank you so much for tuning in once again. And as I always say in closing, let everything that you do and say bring glory to our Lord and Savior, Jesus. He is worthy. So until next time, take care, be kind to one another, and I love you guys so much. Bye bye.